Hello friends, how are you? In previous class, we discussed about physical and chemical change and mixture and compound. In today's class, I am starting chapter number 3 of our book, that is atom and molecule. That is atom and molecule. The first thing about this chapter, in this chapter we will discuss about the atom, the properties of atom properties of atom, and then molecule, and then some concepts like the mole concept and isotope, isobar, etc., valencies, etc. Okay, it is a very important chapter for you because this chapter make your basis about the chemistry, make your basis of chemistry. Okay, so that is a very important chapter for you. The first question comes in our mind, that is, what is atom? What is atom? There are various definitions to describe about the atom. Let me discuss here. I am taking two definitions which are very common and very important for us. The first one is the smallest part of any substance. The smallest part of any substance which cannot be further divided, into more simpler parts, is known as atom. The smallest part of any substance which cannot be further divided in more simpler form, or we can say that which cannot further divide, is called atom. Clear? This is the prime or basic definition, but let me clear you one thing, that this definition has objection, because according to this definition the atom cannot be further divided. But later on, this definition was given by Dalton, but later on it is found that atom is also divisible. Atom is also divisible. Atom is divided into electron, proton and neutron. So this definition has objection. Let me clear. Okay, the second definition, which is based on chemical reactions. According to this definition, the smallest particle of matter, the smallest particle of matter which takes part in chemical reactions, which takes part in chemical reactions, is called atom. Is called atom. Okay. In chemical reaction, the atoms participate. Okay. That's why this definition comes. The third definition, we can say that since it is takes part in chemical reaction, so we can use word chemical properties. So we can also describe atom as the smallest particle of matter or substance which shows its chemical properties. If that means the chemical properties of matter or substance, okay, which shows the chemical properties, its chemical properties, is called atom. Now let me discuss about some historical topic of atom. It is a proud moment for us that the concept of atom was firstly given by Indians. Around 500 BC, one Indian philosopher, or we can say sage, because at that time the science work was given by the work done by the sage and monks. So Indian rishi or Indian philosopher Maharshi Kanad proposed that if we divide a particle, if we divide a substance, in simpler forms, then finally we obtain a smallest or most simpler form which we cannot further divide. Maharishi Kanad called this fine particle Parmanu. Called this fine particle as Parmanu. Parmanu, that means Param Anu. Param means superior, Anu means particle. Most superior, most small in the size. Okay. In modern time, we call this small particle as atom. Called the smallest particle as atom. Okay. One more Indian said, Pakuda Katyama. Katyama, someone is called Katyayan. So it is a controversial that which what is the correct name. But as the NCRT book, it is Katyama. Okay. Said that the Parmanu, that means these particles combine and form Anu. In modern science, we called Anu as molecule. Okay, so he said that particles, that is Parmanu, combine and form Anu, molecule, which gives different form of matter. That means in nature we found Anu. That means it exists, but Parmanu, that is atom, do not freely exist. Only one group of elements which are called noble gases, which in which the atom individually found, but other than all of them, other than other all elements found in the form of Anu. Okay. In the same time, Greek philosophers Democritus and Leucippus also proposed the same concepts. That means atom, if we divide a substance, then we find a most small particle, which they called atom. Democritus called these small particles atom. Democritus proposed name atom. Atom word is derived from a Latin word atomio, which means small particle. Okay. Now let me move to the second topic, that is laws of chemical combination. In the starting of the science, there was no need about the laws of, because there we know about the small knowledge we have about the atom or elements. But later on, as our knowledge increased, then various concepts comes in our mind. In in out of these, the laws of chemical combination is the prime, or we can say the first scientific laws or concept about the atom, molecule, their existence, chemical reactions, etc. Okay. The laws of chemical combinations, there are two. One is called conservation of mass, and second one is called, first is called conservation of mass, and second one is called conservation of proportion, sorry, constant proportion. These laws was given by Lavoisier. Was given by Lavoisier. Okay. These two laws of chemical combinations were based on the experiments of the Lavoisier and Proust. Proust. Okay. Now discuss about the first one, which is laws or law of conservation of mass. Law of conservation of mass. It was mainly given by Lavoisier. This law states that mass neither be created nor be destroyed in a chemical reaction. The mass neither be created nor be destroyed in a chemical reaction. That means the mass which we have taken in the starting, that means as a form of reactant, is equal to the product, is equal to the mass of product. Clear? So we can define this law in one more manner, uh, in which we can say that in which we can say that the total mass of reactant, the total mass of reactant is equal to the total mass of product. Total mass of product, the total mass of reactant is equal to the total mass of product. Okay. So that is the law of conservation of mass. We can prove with the help of an activity. We can prove it with the help of an activity. In this activity, we take a conical flask. We take a conical flask and take two solutions. One is copper sulfate solution and second is sodium carbonate solution. We take the 5% solutions of them. We put copper sulfate solution in the conical flask and put sodium carbonate solution in the ignition tube, or we can say small test tube, and now hang it with a thread and put a cork. Why we put a cork? Because if we do not put the cork, that it may be possible that some of the reactant convert into gas form and and release into atmosphere. In that case, the total mass will be differ. Okay, so we make a isolated system so that all the reactant are present here. After converting the product, none of them will leave it. Okay, now after this, firstly weight the flask of beaker. Weight the flask before the reaction. Weight of the flask before the reaction. Now we tilt the conical flask in such a way that the the sodium carbonate solution comes out and react with the copper sulfate solution. After completion of the reaction, we again weight the flask. In this experiment, the weight of the flask before the reaction, that means the setup of the weight of this setup, is found equal to the weight of flask after the reaction. That means the total mass of reactant, because when before the reaction these are reactants and after the reaction they convert into product. So the weight of flask before the reaction, it means that weight of reactant is equal to the weight of flask after the reaction, that means weight of product. So we can say that total mass remain conserved. We can say that total mass remain conserved. Got it? Now consider the second laws, that is law of constant proportion or law of definite proportion. This law was mainly given by Proust. According to this law, in a chemical substance, the elements are always present in a definite proportion by their masses. By their masses. I am again repeating, in a chemical reaction, the elements are always present in definite proportion by masses. Or in other words, we can also say that in a chemical reaction, the ratio of masses of element is always, in a chemical reaction, the ratio of masses of elements is always fixed. It is always fixed. Okay, to understand it, we can take an example of water. In water, the ratio of hydrogen and oxygen, the ratio of masses of hydrogen and oxygen is 1:8. 1:8. It is always 1:8. It means if we decompose 18 gram of water, the question comes in our mind that from where this ratio formed. It is an experimental ratio. Okay, when 18 gram of H2O, that means water, is decomposed, then it gives 2 gram of hydrogen gas and 16 gram of oxygen gas. If we simplify that, then it will be 1:8. Okay, we can understand it with one more concept, that is atomic mass concept. In water, there is two hydrogen atom and there is one oxygen. It is not 10, it is one oxygen atom. One oxygen atom. The atomic mass of hydrogen is 1. The atomic mass of hydrogen is 1. Okay, since here two atoms to 2 into 1, that is 2u. U means unified mass. It is a unit of measurement of atomic masses. And here atomic mass of oxygen is 16. Since it is one atom, so 1 into 16, that is 16u. That means it is 2u and that is 16u. If we simplify, then it convert, it will be 1u and it will be 8u. And if we remove u, then they becomes 1:8. Got it? So that is the law of conservation of mass. Law of constant proportion. Let me remind the both laws. First one was law of conservation of mass, according to which total mass of reactant is equal to the total mass of product. And second one is law of constant proportion, according to which in a chemical reaction, in a chemical reaction, that means in a chemical reaction, or simply we can say that because if we use the chemical reaction, mainly we consider about the products. So simply what we can use that in a chemical substance, the ratio of mass of the element is always fixed. That means in a chemical substance, the elements are always present in a definite proportion by their masses. Okay, now Dalton's atomic theory, it is very important for us. This theory was based on the law of chemical combination. This theory was based on the law of chemical combination. The laws of chemical combination was given by Lavoisier and Proust, but they do not have any scientific basis to explain about these laws. Dalton gives that scientific explanation, gives that scientific explanation, or we can say that the Dalton's theory provide the scientific explanation of the laws of chemical combination. So we can also say that this theory provide the scientific explanation of chemical combination. One more importance of this theory is that this theory also explain atom scientifically. Before this theory, there was no scientific explanation about the atom, but after this theory, the concept of atom was cleared, experimentally proved, and scientific evidences was given by Dalton. The main points or the main postulates of this theory are: first, all the matter is made up by the small particles called atom. All the matter or substance is made up by small particles called atom. The second point is atoms are indivisible. That means we cannot divide them. But as let me clear you that this point has objection. As in the starting I informed you that now it is clear that atom is also divisible into subatomic particle, which is electron, proton and neutron. But at that time, at the time of Dalton, the discovery of electron, proton and neutron was not done. That's why he put that atoms are indivisible, which cannot be created nor be destroyed in chemical reaction. So that point is that point has this part of point has objection. Okay, so we will discuss about that electron, proton, neutron in the next classes. Comes again on the topic, that is atom are indivisible particles which cannot be created or destroyed in a chemical reaction. Third, all the atoms of a given element are identical. All the elements of a given element are identical. That means they have same mass and same chemical properties. No matter where is the atom. That means if you consider the hydrogen atom, the properties of hydrogen atom, if you consider in India or in you consider in America, both that condition are in that conditions it will be same. Okay, Masses, if you consider that, that is also same, and the properties will also same. Fourth, atom of different elements have different masses and different chemical properties. That means the atomic mass or masses of different elements are different. As we discussed earlier that the atomic mass of hydrogen was 1 and the atomic mass of oxygen was 16. So that is different. Okay, and the chemical properties are also different. For example, the hydrogen make a single bond but the oxygen make double bond. Okay. Fifth one, the atom combine in the ratio of small whole numbers to make compound. In compound, atoms are always in complete in numbers. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. It is not that half atom or 3 by 4 atom. Clear? So the atoms combine in always combine in whole numbers. Sixth, in a compound, the relative numbers and kind of atoms are constant. In a compound, the number and kind of atoms are constant. Means if you consider water in India, in America, anywhere, it will always be H2O. That means always made by the hydrogen and oxygen in the ratio 2:1 if we consider that number ratio in atoms, or if we consider the masses, then it will always be 1:8. So in compound, the relative number and kind of atoms are always constant. If it is changed, then the molecule will different. For example, if we consider H2O2, it is peroxide. It is peroxide. If it is H2O, then it is water. Both are different chemical substances. Water, peroxide. Clear? So if the ratio is changed, then it is different different compound. So in a compound, the ratio will be constant. Seventh, chemical reactions are combination, dissociation, and the rearrangement of atoms. Chemical reactions are combinations, dissociation, and rearrangement of atoms. For example, if we consider the reaction H2O2 equals to make water, here the hydrogen and hydrogen atoms react with the oxygen and oxygen atoms. That is 2H, that is 1H2, since it is 2, so that is 10. Okay, now if we have to make water, then the bond between them, that means hydrogen oxygen and oxygen oxygen, must be dissociate dissociate and then hydrogen hydrogen, that means two hydrogen atom combine with oxygen atom, that means combinations. It means combinations. Okay, so chemical reactions are combination, dissociation, and rearrangement of atoms. Clear? Now, some inside questions related about our discussed topics. The first question is, prove that the law of conservation of mass for following reaction. There is a reaction given to you and we have to prove the law of it, that it is following the law of conservation of mass. In this reaction, it is said that 5.3 gram sodium carbonate 5.3 gram sodium carbonate reacting with the 6 gram of ethanoic acid and forming 8.2 gram sodium ethanoate, 2.2 gram carbon dioxide, and zero point 0.9 gram H2. These data is given to us. Now we have to prove that this reaction is following the law of conservation of mass. As you know that law of conservation of mass said that total mass of reactant is equal to total mass of product, because the mass neither be created nor be destroyed. That means the total mass of reactant should be equal to the total mass of product. If we prove that the total mass of reactant is equal to the total mass of product, then our law of conservation of mass will also prove. So total mass of reactant, that means these are reactants, so their total mass, that is 5.6 plus 6, that is 11.3, and the total mass of product, that is products, so their combination, their total mass is 8.2 plus 2.2 plus zero point 0.9 equals to also 11.3. Since here total mass of reactant equal to the total mass of product, so we can say that it is following the law of conservation of mass. It is following the law of conservation of mass. Okay, now one more inside question, that is hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen and oxygen combine in 1:8 by mass to form water. Now the question is, what mass of the oxygen would be required to react completely with the 3 gram of hydrogen? If we consider the ratio, that is 1:8, that means 1 gram hydrogen react with the 8 gram of oxygen. Since according to the question there is 3 gram of hydrogen, so it will be react with the 24 gram of oxygen. So we can say that to react with the 3 gram of hydrogen, 24 gram of oxygen is required. Okay, now two more inside question, that is which postulates of Dalton theory result of the law of conservation of mass? In which of the postulates the law of conservation of mass was considered? That is, we discussed in the second point, which was atom cannot be created or destroyed in chemical reaction. Since atom cannot be created, cannot be destroyed, that's why the total mass of reactant is equal to the total mass of product. So that point clarify the law of conservation of mass. Similarly, one more question is, which postulate of Dalton's theory explain the law of definite proportion? If you memorize that, in the fifth point, in the sixth point, we discussed that in a compound, the relative number and kind of atom is always constant. Is always constant. This constant of the number and kind of atom is related with the law of definite proportion. Okay, about the atom, the properties of atom, we will discuss in next class. Thank you.